He is hiding. Whoa. Joining us live from Canada is Michael Charbon, the host of the Charbon Report and frequent contributor to Newsmax. Michael, how you doing, brother?
Very good. Do you know what that actually quote was, Rob Carson? He said, "We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but it is safe there. We're not going to take him out, at least for now, but we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patient is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention." Can you imagine what that says?
Wow.
I mean, the real reason why Donald Trump left the G7 early was because he didn't want to have to deal with Cyril Ramaphosa again. That's the leader of South Africa. Remember the last time he addressed him in the... But you know what? When you think of the amount of money that America has spent, Obama sent like $1.7 billion to Iran. And they basically figured that the U.S. is spending like $8 trillion to police the Middle East. So you wonder why Operation Rising Lion isn't going to put a final capper on them.
Oh, brother, I hope so, Michael. You know, my entire adult life, I was a kid when Jimmy Carter brought the Ayatollah in. The first thing that son of a gun did was take Americans hostage and hold them for 444 days. And then Ronald Reagan, before he even was sworn in, they let him go. And here we are now. We had hostages again. Joe Biden wouldn't say anything. We didn't know anything about him at all. And then Donald Trump gets sworn in, and we'll let the last American go. I think the world has had a belly full of Iran and radical Islam in the Middle East.
Well, so have all the people in that area.
I
mean, it's not just Israel. Israel has always been the person that they focus everything against. I mean, I think it's been like 45 years that they've been running that stupid country under that radical Islamic leadership. And the people of, I don't know if there's been many posts. We show the people of Iran before the Ayatollah took over and after. I mean, they were a flourishing, creative country. There was arts, there was creativity, and then everything was put a cap on it. So I think part of the reason that this has been happening in a stepped situation is there has to be regime change. And then you look at all the deals that are going to be done, the accords that are going to be signed. Iran was the one that didn't want any of it to happen. This is a pivotal moment for the world.
It really is. We've seen a lot of things happen. We saw the fall of the Berlin Wall. We saw Tiananmen Square. They did the opposite. We've seen war after war after war. People going to the Middle East. Desert Storm, Desert Shield, the 20-year extended war that included soldiers from around the world in Iraq and Afghanistan, and so many soldiers' lives cut short, sent back in boxes, 3,000 plus in America alone, and then of course those who came back profoundly injured, either physically or emotionally, and all for what? And all for what? And I'm just hoping that we're standing on the precipice of a new beginning that'll begin to spread peace around certainly the Middle East and maybe even allow the Israeli people to rest easy one night in their history, for God's sake.
Well, in Vienna on June 12th, that's the day before Israel decided to launch its attack, the International Atomic Energy Association, for the first time in 20 years, Rob, passed a UN resolution accusing Iran of breaching all its nuclear obligations. So that was basically the trigger that quantified Israel's deep insight and research into knowing that they were 4 days away. There's been other reports that they were 4 days away from not creating a nuclear bomb, but a dirty nuclear weapon that could be carried on all those ballistic missiles that they're firing. So it didn't have to be a nuclear bomb. It could be a dirty bomb. And that was the whole premise. Now the question becomes that everybody has to understand is that that nuclear plant that's built in the underneath a mountain, the only place that this is left now that they've got. They also found a whole bunch of new nuclear sites that they didn't know about. But it is those bunker buster bombs that are only able to be delivered by an American military aircraft of this. I think there's only 52 of them in the world. So it comes to the fact now, will the United States take that bunker buster bomb or two and obliterate that mountain to, for once and for all, put an end to any possibility of enrichment? So so that the Iranians can't say, oh, we want to negotiate, and then 3 months later, they got the thing back up and running. It's got to be done.
Yeah, well, there is another option. Did you hear about this option, Michael? What they want to do is they want to go up to the door of the place. There's a little trap door. They can peek outside and see what's outside. They want to go up and knock on the door, and outside they're going to have some little goats tied up with pink ribbons around their necks. And apparently the Iranian leadership, the mullahs, cannot resist a very attractive goat. And so there's that, too. I just want to throw that out there. I don't know if you heard that yet. That's one of the things they're considering.
That's pretty bad, I'm telling you. But when you think about about that the Israelis, like the Ukrainians, where they had the false top on the boat when they went in to get all those Russian aircrafts, that the Iranians had staged, that the Israelis, I should say, have staged drones. There is more to this operation. I don't take anything away from the Israeli and the Mossad. God knows what they've already got planned as a Part B.
Well, I talked to General Blaine Holt a little while ago, retired brigadier general. He said that Mossad. He said they're the largest employer in Baghdad. By the way, so he said. And he has that and I think Krispy Kreme. I think they're very big over there. But anyway, but he said there are other things that they have in their arsenal, including special forces, with regard to that bunker. There are ways to go after their air vents and other things as well. So, I understand the bunker buster is kind of what you want to do, but it doesn't sound like it's all of it. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert on this. I'm just saying that's what I've heard. Irregardless, it looks like the end of the end for what's going on. They've gone after their banks. The population are not able to get at their money. That's apparently one of the biggest things you can do, clearly, is to separate people from their money, and that just causes chaos, and it causes the regime to fall very quickly. Go ahead.
Well, supposedly the mullahs have already started to talk to Russia for some type of asylum.
Want to get out? Yeah.
They should not martyr this guy, so don't make him something that everybody wants to die for. Kick him out and allow that Iran can become a democratic nation again.
Wouldn't that be something?
Can you imagine
the
Abraham Accords and everything else that would spawn from this?
I mean, wow. Well, look at this. You've got Donald Trump. He went over to Saudi Arabia. He was treated like a king. They rolled out the purple carpet, for God's sake. Yep. They brought him in. They had horseback. They did the sword dance. I mean, they treated him like royalty. He literally, to the guy in Saudi Arabia, the king of Saudi Arabia, you don't look at the man in the eyes. Donald Trump was smacking him on the back going, how you doing, Muhammad? Give me some right here, and because he's the guy. And then he goes over to Qatar and he secured $5 trillion of money. And they realize that you can have paradise on earth. You don't need to die to go to paradise. We can create it here on earth. And I think that the lion's share, the people over there with money, the people who are, want to live life and want to flourish and want to see commerce and want to see good to some degree. I'm not agree with all of their policies, whatever, but it sounds like they've had a belly full of it. And Donald Trump has not only brought the opportunity for a flourishing economy, but also he said, if you don't, you know what you're going to get. And so it's a little bit of both.
So I went and I watched the full UN emergency meeting that they had at the Security Council, where they had some other countries that were blathering BS. And then I listened to the Iranian guy, and then finally it was the UN representative from Israel. What he said was so poignant and so to the point and so correct that the world could not ignore his statement and could not ignore the fact that Israel went to the point and said, you know what, we're going to have to step out of here because we're going to have to protect ourselves. And that's really what it is. And I think there's a lot of countries who don't want to say it out loud because of, they don't want to create domestic problems, but the word on the street is, and what people have been talking about and inside sources are saying, for God's sakes, do away with it. It would be such a thorn in so many countries' sides. So I believe we really are at a precipice here.
I really appreciate your insight on this, Michael. This is great. Now, yesterday, G7's going on. It looked like Mark Carney and Donald Trump were kind of, chumming up a little bit. I was pretty impressed because and I think I also realized why he was saying 51st state and all that, because he was bringing Carney to the table. There was a little back and forth. We're not still where we need to be, but it sounds like we're on the right path.
30 days, that's what they're saying. So the scenario was, supposedly, one source that I talked to said they had hoped that they would have had some agreement in hand so that it would have looked, Donald would have come, he was the president is the big star there. Let's understand. This is the final bout in the WWF, and he doesn't have to wear a tight hamper around the lower groin area.
No.
And he got off the plane, and he was the star. What the purpose was to hold off on an announcement, so at the end of the G7, after Canada spent almost $1 billion to put this puppy on, that they would release, and Donald Trump and Mark Carney would have a handshake. Well, they've announced that there's still some hair on the tennis ball, as they would say, but within 30 days. I mean, the 50% cost on steel and a bunch of other things are costing jobs on both sides of the border. That's not good for either Carney or for Trump. They understand that. They realize they got to fix that. Donald Trump can't make a specific carve-out for Canada, because then how does he legitimize what he's doing with China and everybody else? So it's a slow process. But the deal is supposedly in writing, back and forth, and within 30 days they believe they will have something which will satisfy both countries. Donald Trump basically had to go because he's going to decide if he's going to push that button. I mean, there's enough jets and enough fuel and enough stuff over there in Saudi Arabia area, in the Middle East, I should say, that is going to allow him anything that he wants to do with complete air superiority.
Yep.
They can put that mountain down and just kill it. But you know,
they might not even need the goats. They might not even need those goats, which the goats are probably going, whew. I mean, seriously.
Well, that's why anytime they hear the word kebab, they run.
Kebab. Kebab. You know what I forgot? Yeah. You know what I forgot to do? It's a beauty way to go. Take on to the great white north. I forgot to play your introduction today. You know, the last few, I've been binging on Rush the last couple of days. I've watched more videos. I watched a new documentary I hadn't seen about Rush, and I just wanted you to know that. You kind of got that thing going for me, brother.
Well, I like that. I'm very much a Nickelback fan. I've seen them a bunch of times, and I think they've been maligned by the world.
I do too.
They're a great band. I love Nickelback.
Well, remember that song "Photograph"? You remember that song "Photograph" by Nickelback? What was my favorite? One of my favorite songs. Nothing. You know what? If you don't like Nickelback, stick it. I think they are a good band. They really are.
They are tremendous. And you know what? They made such a huge success in the United States. I went to a bunch of their concerts live, and they really deliver it. Talented musicians.
Absolutely. Chad Kroger's a good vocalist, and the whole deal. I got you.
I want to ask you, did you see the same thing when that California senator decided to walk into a news conference?
Oh, yes.
With here's the optics of someone who doesn't know anything about politics. There's a lady up there who's the head of the government talking about what's happening in Los Angeles, and a white guy starts yelling at her and starts making motions towards the podium.
You mean Padilla, Senator Padilla? He decides to bum rush the secretary of the DHS, which is in charge of terrorism. He's lucky he didn't leave in a body bag.
I'm serious, and then he thinks that he just has to be able to say a name of somebody and it's going to be okay. No. He wasn't announced, and I sit here and I watch my television screens. I have multiple feeds that I can watch multiple programs simultaneously, and I'm watching MSNBC. And honest to God, I can't believe what they're saying. Yeah, I wish I had the Rob Carson button. You know when you watch what the heck's going on, and you put your comments. I want to put this MSNBC reporter on there, Rob Carson cut her to shreds every second.
Oh, bro, trust me, I'll be shredding him this weekend. I'm taping my show for the weekend, Rob Carson's What in the World, this afternoon, and we're going to shred MSNBC. And CNN, by the way, CNN is up for sale. They're going to fire sale CNN. They are just worthless. I love it. Michael Charbon,
News Network.
You are always great to have on, bro. Where can people hear or see your Charbon report and find you on social?
MichaelACharbon.com, thecharbonreport.com, and I'm on LinkedIn. Rob Carson, you're the best.
Listen to this, it's coming.
All right, take off, brother, to the Great White North. We'll talk again soon.
Okay, everyone, this is me.
All right, this is the Rob Carson Show. Back in a minute.
So, stop lying, will you?